Welcome to A Magical Life, Health, Wealth and Weight Loss. I'm your host, Magic BARCLAY, lead practitioner at Holistic Natural Health Australia and #1 best-selling author. In this podcast, I aim to give you practical tips on how to accelerate and sustain your health, increase your financial, spiritual and emotional wealth, and to look at something that haunts many of us needlessly, weight loss. In some episodes, I'll have guests available to give you even more tips, but in others, the floor is yours. Drop us a line at A Magical Life Podcast on Facebook and let me know what you would like to know more about. Now, sit back and enjoy, because it is time for you to create and truly discover a magical life. Welcome back to A Magical Life. I'm your host, Magic BARCLAY. Today we're talking about frequencies throughout daily life. Now, the world is terrified at the moment of a pathogen. All pathogens have frequencies. Everything your body is made of has a frequency. So today I want to talk about how to change your frequency, how to work with your frequency in order to boost your health. Now, I'm going to start with emotions. All emotions have frequencies. At a deeper level, your constant thoughts and feelings also have a frequency, be it from serenity to death. Every state of mind affects your immune system, and that is proposed by many leading doctors, scientists, scholars. So this is not woo-woo information that I'm putting out there. This has been researched. This has been tested. When you engage with another person or an animal or a plant or yourself, you really have to be aware of frequencies. So when we take a look at the PNEI of Trauma, I actually teach this. And this looks at the complete cycle of involvement with trauma, which leads to ultimately immune responses in your body. Now, remember I said the world is terrified of a pathogen at the moment. Your response to everything along the way governs whether your immune system will serve you and save you, or whether it will allow the frequency of the pathogen to become stronger. So the P of PNEI is psycho. It's what we think and emotionally experience. So many people living in fear. That is affecting their health. The N is neuro, the neural networks that convey the messages and can be damaged by trauma, by fear, by exclusion or segregation by a community or a family. It can also be trauma that is self-inflicted. So bad thoughts about yourself, self-hatred, self-loathing, but can be boosted by self-love, self-respect. The E is endo, the endocrine system's response to keep us alive. Now, this isn't just a thing for women. Men have endocrine responses too. The I, of course, is immunology, the immune response to find homeostasis. Homeostasis is a self-regulating process by which biological systems tend to maintain stability while adjusting to conditions that are optimal for survival. It's a state of equilibrium. When homeostasis is threatened, every system of your body has to react. So if we look at frequencies, every human emotion, as I said, has an energetic frequency. Ultra high frequencies are a serenity of being, taking action, feeling exhilarated, enthusiasm. High frequencies are cheerfulness, taking a strong interest in something, all the way down to mild interest in being contented. Lower frequencies are boredom, monotony, hostility, pain, anger, hate, resentment, anxiety. Very low frequencies are your fear, despair, terror, grief, feeling undeserving, feeling like a victim, hopeless, apathy, failure, pity, blame, regret, and of course, ultra low frequencies are dying and body death. So how you feel about what is happening in your day-to-day life directly affects the base frequency of your body based on your emotions. Of course, then add in foods, what you drink, what you breathe, the frequencies around you, so who you surround yourself with. And this becomes a very layered effect. Now, bring in a pathogen with its own low frequency, which I'll discuss in a moment, and you are adding fuel to an already raging fire. So our immune system actually seeks frequencies. Pathogens, as I said, have a very low frequency. Emotions, as we discussed, can range in frequency. Now, from birth, emotions are engaged and our immune system learns a defense against them. It recognizes emotions. Learned behavior or responses to emotions become the trigger to keep us safe. This confuses the immune response and can alter it. I don't know how many of you have ever been out there and you've smelt something. Could be a food, could be smoke, could be anything. And you have like a bit of an internal flashback to some time when you were younger. Now, at that time when you were younger, if you had a cold or a flu, sometimes when you're older, smelling that smell or being exposed to a thought or a reminder, all of a sudden you have a cold or a flu. How does that happen? It's your body's immune response. So it's your body recognizing something, finding the learned behavior or response, and either triggering an immune response at that time or altering it. Now, in the podcast before, we have discussed ACEs and ACEs, so adverse childhood experiences and adverse childhood reactions. And these actually produce an automatic negative response and low frequency at a constant rate, with occasional spikes in volatility. So what does that mean in layman's terms? It means something that wasn't addressed when you were younger or something that you had a learned response to can actually spike when you're older and you don't understand why you're having a certain response to something. When we look at frequencies of emotions, we discussed before high frequency and low frequency. Imagine a funnel. And at the top of the funnel, it's wide and it's open and it's inviting. The more peaceful you are, the more joyous you can be, the more enlightened you can be about your previous experiences, your ACEs or your ACEs, the wider the mouth of that funnel is. But the more that you descend into anger, fear, grief, shame, the finer the funnel becomes. So you actually contract your emotional response. You contract your PNEI response. Some people can say, so much has happened, I just feel numb. Their funnel is so narrow, so contracted. And of course, what happens when that emotional funnel is contracted? You can become ill. You can become sick. So how do you stop from becoming sick? We can't all be walking around happy and with our head in the clouds all the time. Let's face it. Remember I said what you put into your body can make a change. I'll give you an example. Canned and processed foods, genetically modified foods, have a 0 to low frequency. Fresh produce, fresh herbs have, of course, the highest frequency. Dried herbs, like a middle frequency. So what you put into your body will have a difference. We've talked before about structured water and the importance of it. So drinking tap water very low frequency. In fact, the chemicals in your tap water have a low frequency. They have a negative and detrimental effect on your health. But by filtering the water, structuring it with minerals, with oils, with lemon juice, with salt, you are actually raising the frequency of that water. You're actually making it available to the cells of your body so that you do not become dehydrated. Let me sum that up. Drinking plain water does not stop you from dehydration, even if it's filtered water. Your body cannot uptake it to the cells where it's needed. So we've looked at what we consume, what we drink. We've looked at our emotions. What about the people around us? Have you ever been having a fantastic day and you go to meet someone for lunch and you love this person? So you're really looking forward to time with them. Could be a family member, could be a friend, could be a partner. But then they start talking about everything that's wrong in their day. And all of a sudden your day becomes shadowed, becomes uncomfortable. You become tired and you're thinking, why am I so tired when I've been so looking forward to meeting this person? But now all I want to do is go home. Because they've lowered your frequency. You've absorbed everything that's wrong in their life. Now, it could be a beautiful sunny day. It could be raining and the smell of life in the air is all around you. And yet you're having lunch with this person and they're talking about everything wrong in the world. And all of a sudden you become tired or anxious, apathetic. You've gone from joy and excitement to apathy, to frustration. Your energetic frequency has lowered. And that is a perfect way, a perfect storm to get sick. There's an old saying that you are who you surround yourself with. In fact, that's a very true statement, because as much as you might be a free thinker, as much as you might have your own ideas and, you feel like you really stand your ground on what you believe in, the longer you are around people with low frequencies, with low energies, low vibration, the more you actually become them. You might have all the intentions in the world to stand your ground on a certain point. But if your community shun you, segregate you, put you down, you soon become one of the pack. Remember that homeostasis that we need to find. Sometimes our bodies and our minds find that homeostasis by bringing us to the level of those around us. And you get home and you think, wow, today's been a really crappy day. I don't know why, because when I left the house, I felt great. Oh, well, if today's a crappy day, tomorrow will be as well, and the week, and the month, and the year. And before you know it, you're unhappy all the time. You're getting sick. You're allowing pathogens to take over your body, because guess what? When your frequency, your vibration drops, a pathogen will succeed. I know this might sound a bit out there, this whole episode today, but I really want you to just be aware of everything that you feel, everything that you think, everything that you eat, everything that you drink. Because you are a range of frequencies. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, we talk about meridians, we talk about qi, the energy, the flow. Yogic practices, they of course talk about the flow. Ayurvedic medicine, they talk about the energy, the vibration. But in Western medicine, we talk about take a pill, go with the crowd, self-preservation, don't stand out, don't be different. If you have a pain, let's cover it up with a painkiller. If you have acid reflux, let's use a reflux or an acid blocker. If you don't want to get pregnant, take the pill. We're adding things with low frequencies in Western medicine, but we're also adding things that have adverse reactions in our body. No system works alone in your body. We've discussed this before in the podcast. And when you block the messages from your body, the messages being pain, the messages being discomfort, the messages being an immune response or a hormonal response, when we block these messages, our body tries to adapt, and it doesn't adapt well because no system works alone. So I urge you all, go out and really learn about frequencies. The easiest way you can raise your frequency is by recognizing your emotions and by finding things that give you a higher frequency. Things like joy, passion, excitement. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast and gotten some information out of it. Just remember that the frequencies throughout your daily life do matter. Now, that was your episode 86. In episode 87, we're talking about your relationship with you. We have some amazing guests coming up for you soon. Here in Australia at the moment, there's so much going on. I guess there is right around the world. But we do endeavour to bring you fantastic guests. So if there's someone that you would like us to talk to, please drop us a line on Facebook or by email. We would love to hear from you. If you have a listener question, we would love to help answer that for you. But for now, go forth and create your magical life. Thanks for listening today. Please subscribe to hear future episodes, leave a review, and share this podcast. You can follow us on Facebook at A Magical Life Podcast or at Holistic Natural Health Australia. That's holistic with a W. You can find us on Instagram at Holistic Natural Health or at www.holisticnaturalhealth.com.au. That's where you'll access all sorts of articles, freebies, and more.